are some things you're really good at that I'm really not good at? I said, if there are things that I'm good at that you're not, and things that you're good at that I'm not, does that mean I'm disabled as well? And she looked at me with her quizzical look, and she said, well, you're not disabled. I said, no, I'm not. She said, well, maybe I'm not then. And that was a massively defining point in Nikita's life, because I started to see an imperceptible change in her. I started to see herself as a person with abilities rather than as someone who is disabled. And then year 11 came, we were looking at what she would do next. I had my own very definite ideas about what Nikita was going to do in year 12. She was going to stay at school, do sixth form, and have a year to develop in confidence and life skills. I didn't reckon on Nikita having very, very different ideas, and I certainly didn't reckon on her determination, because Nikita had decided she was going to mainstream college 20 miles away to do performing arts, following in the footsteps of 3 of her older sisters. And there was no budging her. So in the end, I had no choice but to give in and agree. The day she was due to start, I woke up to the sound of Nikita being violently sick in the bathroom. The anxiety had completely taken over. I got her in the car, we drove to college, we pulled up. I said, right, let's go in. She said, no, I've changed my mind. I'm not going. So she was about to give up on her dream. So I wasn't having that. So I cajoled and begged, and eventually I tricked her to go into the college. And she stayed the whole day. I didn't get the phone call. And when I picked her up, she came out and she looked quite happy. And I said, how did it go? She said, okay. I said, what did you do? She said, well, we had to do an icebreaker. We had to tell people something about ourselves and tell people what we thought our greatest strength was. Now, before Nikita started college, her biggest worry was whether or not to tell people about her autism, because she knew that potentially people knowing that could define their opinion of her for the next 3 years, and she didn't want that. But she said when it came to her turn, she decided in that moment to tell everyone. And she told them not only that she's autistic, she also told them that she saw her autism as being her biggest strength. And in that moment, Nikita took total ownership of who she is. And I know how much courage that took, and how far has she come since the time I was told she would need full-time residential care. And I adore all my children, but I respect them so much, because each and every one of them have done the same. They've taken total ownership of who they are. They will happily tell people about their particular neurodivergence. They don't have any problem with it. And if they upset someone or they say something inappropriate, they'll just say to people, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to upset you, but I'm autistic, and social skills aren't my forte. And so, please, we have more than enough evidence that neurodivergent people have so much to offer society. Isn't it time we started to recognize them for their talents and abilities and not see only their shortcomings? Isn't it time we nurtured them and brought out the best in them and helped them? And really, isn't it time that we changed our perceptions and our attitudes towards mental health on absolutely every level? Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. That was a really special thing that she talked about with her daughter, and it takes a patient person. It takes patient people to work in that field. I mean, hearing that story might inspire you to go out and do something and work with special needs, but you have to be patient. If you have no patience, you cannot work with a special need person. You hear me? If you have no patience, You cannot work with a special need person because you have to have the patience of a saint in order to get them to where Nikita had gotten to. And it's really something how, she pretty much went in tears when she talked about how she had written her off, thought she couldn't function in society. And then Nikita proved her wrong. We all have to find something special inside of ourselves, not just with special needs, but within people who are depressed, who are socially depressed. You have to find something special inside of them. And sometimes it can take a mother, a teacher, a father, or a neighbor to pull that out. Sometimes we, as parents, don't have what it takes to get our kids to that next level, and we don't understand why they're not there. That's because we don't have what it takes to put them there. With some kids, we fall short. Some kids, we continue on. I know with um, my middle child came out. She was darker than all of her sisters, all of her siblings, and she used to get picked at a lot, mainly by her oldest sibling, but a lot of it in society in California because we lived in a predominantly white neighborhood. And she did not, when she went to high school, her self-esteem wasn't there. She was not there. And she wanted to run for office. She wanted to run for student president, to do journalism. She wanted to, so much she wanted to do, and she had withdrawals. And she had them all her life, but I reminded her that what I had said to her before. She said that they had told her she looked like chocolate and, other things as well. My thing was telling her was that she was a chocolate bar. I did know. Sometimes you don't know what to say, and God gives you certain things to say. And I had told my daughter she was a chocolate bar, and I told her that everybody loves chocolate. Do you know anybody that don't love chocolate? And she thought about it. She said no. And just those words right there, mixed with more, gave her that strength and that confidence that she needed to be the person that she was. And needless to say, she had an outstanding time in high school. She won second class president, first place prom queen. She was on the news television thing. Most popular kid, had dinner with the mayor. She just turned out to be one of. I wish I could live vicariously through her in her high school. Cheerleader, she had a good time. Her high school was the signature high school time, and that's because she got over that complex about her skin color. And then most of her friends, majority of her friends, were white. She probably had even very few black friends because blacks looked at her differently because she was dark. So so I can relate with her with that story, just like I can relate with the story that you're going to hear next week about my daughter with the squid lupus and how I went into denial about that. Not a not a not ashamed to say it, but I did, and I'm going to show some pictures and things of that sort. But I think that was really good, and it was really good to hear her talk about things like, the movie A Beautiful Mind, which is one of my favorite movies, how the mathematician had created so much and reminded us of a place that special needs can fit into this society if given that opportunity too. So I think that we should all look at each other with a different light, with a different look in the eyes, not just autism. Humans, period. We're not just something we're not someone's target practice. We're beings. We have lives. We have people who love us. We have problems. We have issues. We have a lot that goes on just being human. And I think that we should all treat each other as human. I mean, that's the way God wants it to be. And you have to lead this life. And people say they don't care where they go, but I do. I care where I go. I do. I want to live again over and over and over and over again. I do. I believe that there's so much more. This is just the first step. There's so many different plateaus, but you gotta get there. You gotta get there the right way. You have to repent. None of us are perfect. Nobody's perfect. You know. So that was really good. I'm kind of speechless, but let's see. I had this thing that says 4 ways to handle the most challenging autism behavior, and I don't really have much time to go over it, but I'm gonna see what I can. It says one is sleep disruption. Sleep can be tough for kids with autism as they tend to have highly sensitive nervous systems. Even the slightest variation in their day can affect their sleep for the night. Many parents found that creating not, a nocturnal oasis helps a lot. Think of a sensory rise, room darkening shades, white noise machines, weighted blankets, basically anything you can do to make sleep more appealing. Suggests that the mother of 2 teens who had autism, that was one of her suggestions. And this says a lot of parents feel that when their child wakes up in the middle of the night, they have to get him something to eat, turn on the TV, and immediately cater to the fact that he stirred up or woke up, as opposed to bringing him or her back to bed. It's just a matter of teaching their bodies that it's still nighttime and we're not going to start the day just yet because you woke up. So the day doesn't start at 4 in the morning because you want to get up, trying to go back to bed. I mean, basically, it said treat them like pretty much any other kids. Of course, there's some exceptions to the rules, but the second says food sensitivities. Kids with autism are historically tremendously picky and selective and limited to what they will eat, says Riley Hall. It's a sensory thing. You have to have lots of trial and error, certain textures, certain foods. When her girls were younger, and they're now 13, 11, she didn't make them eat anything they didn't want to eat. For me, it's more important for mealtime to be pleasurable. Everybody eats more if they feel relaxed. So in the past, I've made them something different to eat. Then we all sat down and ate together. I think that's a good thing. Getting your child to eat a variety of food starts with expanding their tolerance level. It doesn't even need to be that a child eats a new food, but that they tolerate it being on the table, says Berkeley. At the next meal, they tolerate it being on the table, and then they tolerate just touching it. Then they slowly expand their food repertoire. So she recommends the slow, gentle, and positive approach because you want them to take the fear and anxiety around food and transform it into a sense of empowerment and self-control. Number 3, I'm not going to go into because I'm right out of time. It's meltdowns. It happens. We have meltdowns as normal adults. Children, normal adults. I know I have my meltdowns. Believe me. And I am extremely creative. So you can take that for what it's worth. But I got to get out of here. Thank you for spending this hour with me, finding out about autism. I hope you learned something, because I did. And I hope you look at people in a different light, all people, not just people with autism and mental and intellectual disability. Hey, I know someone, a friend of mine, has a website called ihdaysupport.org. They do have a day support thing for mentally disabled and kids with autism, adults with autism. I got to get out of here. Join me tomorrow morning for Truthful Tuesday on the LJ Morning Sparkle, where we got less talk and more music. We're going to start that morning off with a little prayer. This is Lena. Remember to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I'm out of here. Have a good evening, Diamonds, and I will see you or hear you or speak with you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye now.